This is Infection, the survival podcast, recorded live on Tuesday, August 7th, 2018, episode 186. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We bring you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig, and of course, visit our website, infectionpodcast.com. Joining me as he does each and every week from the great state of Boise, Idaho, where goats were on the loose this week, eating people's lawns. How are you, Mr. Brian Aldridge?
We're that progressive. We're eco-conscious. We just put the goats out there. Actually, you know that there's places where they actually use goats to clear out for like fires and things like that. So they'll take goats and where they want fire lines, and they'll just have them. And this is over in Europe, but they'll have them eat all the brush and the things that normally would catch on fire to keep everything down. So that's actually a smart thing. And not that was the point. I think somebody broke out their fence.
Yeah, I would assume so.
And 100 and something goats kind of came onto this subdivision and ate all the flowers and the bottom halves of the trees. And it was quite the event.
Yes.
So, all right. So if you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, my blog, biteoftech.com, and make sure you go check out our website. And infectionpodcast.com has links to our show notes for each and every week. So whenever we discuss something on here, you can go and get all the different video, patch note links. Everything that we talk about should be in that list. There's an audio version, a video version, link to our Discord group. So if you're looking to join our Discord and hang out, talk throughout the week, give suggestions of news that we're going to be, I look at that every time I do the show notes to see if there's relevant things that we can discuss and put those in from the news channel. And then every time we do our game of the week, we hang out and talk during that, have a lot of fun. The game of the week is less about the game and more about everybody giving each other a hard time and having fun in Discord. Also, just make sure that you click the Steam group, because that will give you a nice notification right before the live show starts. So maybe you're sitting at your computer and you've forgotten that it's Tuesday. You'll get a nice Steam notification if you're logged in, and you can jump in and join us live. So
there you go. And all these
infection promotion.
All these new. I've been doing thumbnails for every episode. Got some good ones here. The dancing Fortnite character for last week. The No Man's Sky logo. Our We Happy Few. So you can all check that out on the website, infectionpodcast.com. Plus on YouTube, we've been the past probably month or so been doing time-stamped topics. So maybe you want to point somebody to just a specific thing that we talked about or made reference to. You can do that now. Just send them the hyperlink to the timestamp. So yes, you can check all that out on our website.
Developers like to use that so they can go listen to the segment where we talked about their game and they get upset. So that's a perfect tool.
Yeah, then that happens.
Not to rehash that.
Yeah, well, it happens every once in a while. What is coming up for this week's Game of the Week, Brian?
All right, so we're going to be doing some GTA 5. It is on sale right now, I think. So if you're looking to get it, if you don't have GTA 5, it's been on sale. I'll have to look and see when it's actually going off of sale. But it has been on sale. I think it's like $20-something at the moment. And so if you don't have GTA, make sure you pick it up. I don't know. I always encourage people to go to our Humble Bundle link if possible. I don't know if it's on sale on Humble Bundle, but if you want to support the show a little bit, just jump onto our Humble Bundle link, get it through Humble Bundle if it is cheaper. If not, then just get it through Steam. We don't ask you to spend more money to be able to support the show. That's a way that usually you can support the show without spending any additional cash and sometimes saving money.
Yes. So, and before we get any further, I want to thank a couple folks who's just resubscribed. We've had this subscription open for 6 months. So two of our longest time subscribers, Saul Greatman and our friend Serial Killer Barbie, both hit us up with the resub right before the show. We appreciate both you guys for supporting us for the last 6 months on the program, and it's all, of course, leading up to our trip out to PAX West in
Is it 3 or 4 weeks?
I believe it's 3
weeks.
23 days until we're out there. The schedule came out yesterday, so what I'll say to everybody is go check out the schedule, west.paxsite.com, and if you see something that you think is interesting, either a panel or a booth, there's the schedule.
I'm afraid of what they're gonna.
Well, that's fine.
They're gonna suggest we go and see.
There's very interesting panels, but there you can look at the panels, and then there's a map of the show floor. So look at both of those if you've got some time, and if there's something you want us to cover, we'll do our damnedest to go make that happen. So.
Well, if you know about a specific, maybe a company, because the thing is they're laid out by companies.
Yeah.
So Nick was going through, I know, and saying, okay, here's the games that are made by this this publisher, and kind of breaking them down. But if you look through that floor plan and you see, oh, I know this company makes this game that I enjoy, make sure you go on there and let us know, because that way we can set up an appointment. A lot of times we can set up an appointment for an interview beforehand, and we want to get as many of those set in stone before we get there, so that we're not doing them last minute, and we can kind of schedule out our weekend.
Yes, and I want to thank our friend Big Woody Sauce, who just came in with our friend Ross, just came in with a subscription here on Twitch. Thank you very much, Ross. We appreciate you. So yeah, take a look if you've got some free time over the next 2 weeks or so. Check out the panels, check out the show floor. If there's something that interests you, let us know. But we're looking forward to it. We'll have an extra day this year, which I think will be really helpful. It may give us some time to actually go to some panels or some
or even go out to eat. Like we barely went out to eat. We were like from beginning of day to end of day. We were talking about all these restaurants and all these things we were going to try.
We didn't do anything.
And we did like one really good restaurant I remember.
The Boston.
But other than that, it was just.
Well, see, you would have went to another restaurant, Brian, if you hadn't missed your flight like an idiot, because we went out.
Okay, well, this time, this isn't gonna. That's not gonna happen.
We had great Italian in Boston. Really good Italian.
That sounds good.
It was fantastic, and you were sitting on an airplane because you're an idiot. So that's that's not my problem. That's your problem.
And so this time I have a 1 hour flight. And of course, Nick will be sitting there. So you'll be sitting there practically.
I won't be sitting there. I've realized I was told that I forgot I need to get my bag, so I'll be past security. I'm gonna have to go find like a sports
I think when
bar.
I get into the plane to come and fly over there is when you'll be landing.
It's brutal. I'll be there at like 10 o'clock in the morning. It's gonna be a long day. Nevertheless, we're looking forward to it. No complaining. I'm not complaining. We're just joking around.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. We'll have a really good time. Hopefully, we may have the opportunity to go to some of the a lot of companies and games will have mixers that they do after the specific day's events, but because we only did
talk with some of the devs in a little more relaxed environment.
Because we only did 2 days last year, Friday and Saturday, we really didn't have any time. Now we'll be doing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that'll give us some time to make that happen. Thank you, Green Man Cartoons, chip into the Infection Food Fund. We've got two funds currently going. We've got the Infection Food Fund and the Stripper Fund, which I believe our friend Amnon donated to a couple weeks ago. So, there we go. For the hookers at PAX. There, I right on cue.
You was like reading your mind.
I couldn't even make it up. Thank you, Amnon. We appreciate that. So we're gonna. I'll tell you what. There's two.
Quite an exciting evening. I don't know my wife. We just make sure nobody tells my wife.
I'll tell you, there may not be any content from PAX, but we'll be well fed and there will be hookers. So it all else is moot at that point. So, yes, thanks for that, Amnon and Green Man. We appreciate both of you guys. So yeah, it'll be a good time. Let's see. We'll have 1, 2, 3 more shows before PAX, and then we'll have a couple things there, and then we'll be back. So, looking forward to it.
So we're going to be getting there on Thursday, correct? We're getting there on Thursday, and so that'll give us kind of the
Afternoon
to get settled.
Morning. Last time we went,
we're getting there Thursday morning, so we'll be able to go check out, make sure we have our passes, make sure everything's good to go in case of a last minute thing, and then we'll go get something to eat Thursday night. And then Saturday or Friday morning, first thing, we'll be down at the show floor. Being that we have press passes, we have the ability to get in there an hour early, look at all that's one thing we did. First thing is walk around, see if there's any of those booths being set up that is a game that we've never heard of. Maybe there's one of the sleepers in there that we can catch and get a chance to get some interviews lined up for things that maybe we didn't know beforehand. Because we don't, that's the thing, is we don't know every single developer there. There's like there's sometimes little games in a little corner, and you told everyone else passes them by. But
there's little games in little corners. The thing that kind of got us last year is there is games that partner with companies like Corsair and Razer and Alienware, that games will have a representative or two at the Alienware booth, which is not listed anywhere on a map. So once we get in there and actually walk around, we'll see some of that stuff. So that'll be a lot of fun. We're really looking forward to it. And we thank everybody that's making the trip, and it will make the trip possible. We really do appreciate it.
Cool. And so this week we played some Fortnite on Friday.
Yes, we did.
And I haven't played Fortnite in quite a while because, first of all, I'm so slow at building. I can put stuff down, but you see what the really competitive guys do, and it's just crazy. They're spinning and jumping and throwing down buildings like crazy. So I kind of get frustrated when I play it, but I had a really good time when we played this Friday.
Yeah, we had two full four-man groups. So we were rolling. We had 8 people total. We had 9 or 10 in and out, but we were playing with those different groups, and consistently had full four-man groups. It was a lot of fun. Everybody loves to trash talk it, but then everybody gets there and they have a good time because they realize how casual and how quick the game is. I don't remember who all was in my group. I don't remember who I was playing with. But
you were in the second group.
Yeah, I don't remember. I honestly, God, I don't remember who was there. I'm sorry, but somebody was noting how quick the games were, and they were super quick. Oh, it was Green Man and Barbie. Yes, maybe it was Green Man saying just how quick the games were. We were in and out of lobbies. When you died early, you just died, and it was over.
Green Man's like minutes. That's not the goal.
Stairwave, thank you. Get some food and hookers, so we'll have to split his
No, that's food for the hookers.
Oh, food for the hookers. I'm sorry. The text is very small there. Thank you, Stairwave. So we've got all bases covered at PAX. We're gonna have
no excuses.
No excuses. We're gonna have a phenomenal time, and so thank you for that, Stairwave. We do appreciate it. Yeah, super quick, right? What was so great about it is
we on our group we even tried like the 50-man. We tried a couple different. We tried the 2 different game modes just to see, because being that I hadn't really played that much, we felt that the 50-man was a little more casual even, because you're kind of rushed to either, some people will drop right into the action in the beginning, and that creates really fast, quick games if you die within the first couple minutes. This game I find less. I don't find an urge to drop far away and work my way in. Like I'll kind of go maybe on the outside, but you don't try to go halfway across the map because it's a quick enough game. You'll then just have to turn around immediately, most likely, and you'll be moving the whole time. So this game really pushes you not to do that.
Now, I don't. Again, I feel terrible because I don't remember who all was making these comments. I may have been making them. I don't think I was though. There's no attach. We were talking about when you play a game like PUBG, there's an attachment to the individual game because there's so much hype and there's so much, the individual game that you're in, like the lobby you're in. Yeah. There's so much buildup. It's house after house after house after house. You finally get the right gear. You're looking for that 4-inch scope.
Looting 30 minutes.
Exactly. And okay, Brian, you're exaggerating on 30 minutes. Even it's 15. Let's say it's 15. There's still a 15-minute
Originally,
window.
though, if you made it to the end, there were times that you would loot for about 30 minutes. You would be doing stuff for 30 minutes before you sometimes got into a fight.
That's true. But let's say even 10 minutes of looting, which is a significant amount of time. I mean, we've only been live for 15 minutes doing the show at this point, so you're talking more than half of what we've even talked right now. 10 minutes, you're attached. You've got commitment now into that game, and then you get killed by some sniper from a billion miles away, and the game is over. Fortnite, that doesn't exist. You either fall into a decent area, get some loot, and have an instant gunfight, and you either wipe the whole other team out or they wipe you out, or you land alone, gear up really quick, less than 5 minutes, you're in a gunfight. And that's pretty much how but there's no attachment. Like when you die in PUBG, you're thinking, you slam your keyboard, your mouse, and you say, damn it, I died.
Just wasted a bunch of time.
Just wasted all the time. In Fortnite, we were just literally clicking. We would instantly die, all right, let's just queue back up. There was no, rage. Nobody was pissed off. It was just, let's just keep playing because it was fun. Like nobody was pissed off about it.
I think what helps is that in Fortnite, the pacing of the game makes it so that you land, you grab some initial stuff, you look at where the zone's going, and you just start moving there. You're not thinking, oh, okay, now we have to move over to this town and loot. We have to move over. You just kind of run, and you'll maybe pick up some additional stuff. But because they don't have all the crazy weapon attachments of all these little things here, just to get a basic weapon, you have to go through all these steps of getting all these pieces. You can kind of maybe throughout the time you're looking for maybe a better maybe a better tier of weapon, but you don't feel like, oh, I have a totally incomplete weapon unless I go to 10 houses. It's more of a luck of, oh, I got to this house or I opened this chest and this is a pretty good weapon. I'm going to use this. With that was the thing with PUBG that we ran into every time is, all right, I got to go through these 10 rooms at least to be able to get something that's maybe okay. And when their loot balance was off, you'd go through 20 rooms and maybe you'd have a decent set of one weapon. So I think that this works out. I just enjoy it a little bit more in that aspect of not having, it's not a loot simulator. We talk about runs. H1Z1 was a running simulator. And PUBG kind of turns into a looting simulator where you're going to be looting a whole town and maybe get geared up in that time. Yeah. I don't feel that sensation. I don't feel like that's what happens in Fortnite.
It doesn't. It doesn't happen at all, and that's why you're seeing it. You're seeing the popularity. You're seeing why it's a craze because it is the pinnacle of casual gaming. I mean, it's even more casual than something like Call of Duty, which is incredibly casual. It is the pinnacle of no strings attached. No emotional commitment, no time commitment to gaming. You can literally play. We were joking about it. You could literally play 3 or 4 Fortnite games in a single PUBG game where you end the game with 1 kill and then get shot from a mountain away. And that's not an inaccurate statement. Depending on how quickly you die, you could have 2 bad Fortnite games and maybe 2 decent ones and probably be wrapped up in less than 45, maybe 50 minutes, which is the length of a PUBG game if you last till the end. Those games are long and boring, and that just doesn't exist in PUBG.
I think that's kind of the way that the genre is going. I mean, we look at Realm Royale. Realm Royale was much more of a Fortnite feel as far as the pacing of the game, simplification of everything. We saw H1Z1 with their recent PS4 release. They went that direction of simplifying. We need to play that again, by the way. Yeah, PUBG has not simplified.
No, not at all.
And they've kept it pretty much the same as far as you find all these attachments and do these things. Now they've made their weapons different enough to where you now have to have a close range weapon, a medium range weapon, and a long range weapon. They've added more steps where I think a lot of the other games are actually removing those steps.
Now, I'm not saying that they should, because I think there is a market for people that want to. PUBG is still very popular.
There's a lot of that ARMA community that they look at something like Fortnite and they're like, that's just too unrealistic, too simple.
Children's play, trash. Yeah.
Yes. So I think that it definitely has its market, but I think most people who want a casual game where ARMA is way something they would never consider. They look at ARMA and just all the realism and all these crazy keys you have to press to do all these things. They would never want to do that. I think that PUBG is the middle ground of ARMA versus Fortnite. But I think your average player that just wants to have a casual, that's more maybe came from console and Call of Duty, would feel much more comfortable in Fortnite.
I agree 100%. And if you haven't already played Fortnite, it's free. You have to download the Epic game launcher, make an Epic account. You can literally play it anywhere, literally any platform. So if you want to. I'm not saying you really should check out Fortnite if you've played PUBG or you've played any other battle royale. You really should check out Fortnite because it is very, very interesting. Now, before we get into anything, Brian, the past couple weeks we've been starting the show off with a topic that kind of leads the conversation for the first half of the show, and I think we've got to start it off this week with Fallout 76.
Yes.
There was some news this week out of Fallout. A couple different bits of news this week from Bethesda, who, by the way, is not at PAX, which is kind of lame. About
Which is surprising. I don't. The timing would be perfect for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure why they're not going to
show it off a little bit. And I think they have enough of it ready to show off.
Oh, I would agree. So that I was a little disappointed with that. So there's a couple things that they announced this week. The first one being, well, let's go with the one that's the craziest first, is that Fallout 76 will not launch on Steam. It will only be available in the Bethesda Net launcher. It says on launch. So that could mean...
So this seems to be a trend. We're going to talk about this a little bit more throughout the show because this is not the first one doing this.
This is a tentpole. This is turning into a tentpole topic with these games moving away from Steam or other platforms.
And it comes down to Fortnite. I mean, we were talking about Fortnite. Fortnite's doing the exact same thing. They do not want to give a cut of money, whether it be to the Google Play Store or to Steam. I think they're starting to realize now that they've left console. I mean, there's games coming over that they relied so much on console. I think this is more of a sign that the PC market is becoming more of a real thing to these companies, because now they're actually, it's not just something they do on the side. They're actually looking at these saying, man, look at all the money that we're handing to Steam to do these things that we're willing to do for ourselves. Being that they have their own launcher, they're willing to deal with their own updates, bandwidth, authentication, all those things. They don't mind handling that themselves, and they don't feel like the 30% that Steam is asking for is worth it, because they're bringing in so much money. They're like, so we're going to pay you how many millions of dollars to handle authentication and updates for us, versus us doing it ourselves, and we can do it for a quarter of that price probably. So I think that's becoming more common, to where Fortnite, they look at the Google, I mean, even look at the Google Play just to be listed in the marketplace, 30%.
I mean, you're literally talking about almost $20 on a $60 title that is getting sucked away by a third party. Now, that is, I mean, obviously Steam needs to make money. They've got servers that they need to keep up for that. They've got a million things that they've got to be spending money on. So I'm not saying that they're the enemy, but as Stairwave is saying, 30% is an F ton of money. I mean, 30%.
See, but okay, so I think that it's one thing when you're a small publisher and you don't have the facilities to handle all these updates to do all that stuff. Yeah. Like you look at 30% and say, okay, that's worth it for me.
Yeah, because I don't have these servers and the network and the infrastructure to do it.
They're providing all that stuff to make it happen. Yeah. Right. And they're providing the platform. But these companies know that they don't need that platform. They will sell that game regardless of whether it's on Steam or not. Yeah. And so they're looking at it as, I think that what is going to be forced to happen is that Steam is going to kind of have two tiers. I think they're going to have two tiers, to where if the company is selling 1 million copies, right?
Yeah.
That is a different tier, and the price works out to where there's kind of a cap. Because right now, 30% of 1 million sales is a huge amount of money that any company is going to look at and say, you know what, that's not worth it for us. I think there's got to be two tiers, to where one is providing a service to smaller developers of the infrastructure. The other one is purely a listing to put it on Steam. Because I know that that's Fallout 76, that Bethesda could turn around and provide the bandwidth. They could have it to where Steam launches the basic game, and then that game runs updates internally on itself.
Yeah.
Right. It connects and updates all the files and uses Bethesda's bandwidth. I'm sure that they would offer to do that even if they cut it down to 15%. I mean, for them, cutting it down to 15% versus bandwidth, that would be a huge deal for them. They'd be saving so much money, and it wouldn't really, it's not costing Steam that much to have it listed in the store.
When a game like GTA or Fallout, or Call of Duty is not a great example because it doesn't sell very well on PC, but when a game like Fallout or GTA sells on Steam on the PC, Valve is literally making millions of dollars on the sales of that game. They're not making the game. They are literally making it sells so many copies. I mean, they sell 3 million copies. They've made almost $1 million at the 30% rate that they're charging. And Grand Theft Auto is selling way more than 3 million copies on the PC. And same thing with Fallout 76. You're talking $1 million, and they're doing a lot. But for a company like Bethesda or Rockstar, they're essentially doing nothing that they can't do themselves, besides that it's already all integrated. I mean, that's what it is. You're literally paying Steam $1 million. If you sell 3 million copies of your game, you're paying them $1 million to give you access to Steam. That's incredible. That's an incredible amount of money that they're losing.
Yeah, and so I think that that's going to become more of an argument over time, because we got 2 games right in a row that are complaining because they're such big sellers. Fortnite, on one hand, makes, I mean, what was it, $109 million they made in that short period of time,
first
just
90
on mobile
days on iOS. Yeah.
So they listed it in the iOS store because I think there's a lot of restrictions on that.
Yeah, you can't install an app on the iPhone without it being installed.
Without rooting it.
Yep.
But I think that with Android, because it does have the ability to sideload, that, and it's an open source, supposedly open source operating system, they have that ability to do it. And so Fortnite is actually having the choice to say, hey, we're going to make it to where you don't launch it through the store. So I think that this is going to become a bigger problem. I think that this is going to have to be addressed by all these different companies that provide these platforms. If that will prevent competition coming in, because this is what's going to lead to competition. Yep. I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. All these companies that are doing their own launchers could group together and release a launcher that doesn't take nearly the cut. It's more of just a place to handle the bandwidth and make it so these guys work together. They can all share, make the infrastructure, and do it way cheaper than this purchase price of doing the 30%.
It really seems like, well, there's a couple of solutions. That is one of them. It seems like I don't want to say better, but I'm going to say the better solution is for Steam, just for certain publishers to just lower that price.
Let them negotiate.
Why is it not 10% for companies like Bethesda and Rockstar and EA and Activision? Well, EA is a bad example, but Activision. Well, actually, Activision, the new Call of Duties, if you load up the freaking Blizzard Battle.net launcher, the new Call of Duty, you can pre-order in there. I don't know if it's on Steam. Actually, I don't think it is on Steam, actually. So, that I think is the more, maybe I should say the more practical solution is for Steam just to negotiate with these companies instead of being so hardlined on this 30%. Maybe they have, and these publishers don't want to spend anything, but I would imagine 10%
with all the bandwidth and everything, there's got to be some money, but I think that it's got to be a realistic amount of money.
Is 10% realistic?
I know. Yeah. I mean, I think that would be the minimal amount, because you got to think a lot of these games are huge. There's a huge amount of bandwidth happening on the front end, especially when everybody's preloading, and then you have your first couple big updates. This may have to change how these companies do updates. Maybe they have a tier where, all right, you're not allowed to pull an ARC and do an update every other day that's a gigabyte. That uses up a bunch of Steam's bandwidth. Have it to where, all right, you'll do realistic update schedules. You're not going to waste our bandwidth for them. If we're going to give you a better deal on this, don't sit there and waste our bandwidth, because right now there's no restrictions. People are putting out, we saw it with ARC, constant updates all the time. I know people that have limited amount of bandwidth on their internet connections get frustrated with that. And it's doing nothing but costing either people money or Steam money when they do that. So maybe they could say, hey, if you're going to do this, we'll have realistic updating limitations to where you're not just, but these are mostly polished games. These are finished games that are doing this. They don't tend to put out updates every 2 weeks.
No, you're absolutely.
So I don't think that'd be as big of an issue with the ones that are really having to negotiate.
Yeah. So that's a pretty big story. And then the next thing with Fallout, and we'll come back to this conversation because I think it's a big conversation and it's affecting a lot of people, is that the Fallout 76 beta, which will come out in October, when you play through that, or you play that at all, your save will be transferred and all of your progress will be turned into the launch version of the game. They are not erasing progression, which for the life of me I can't figure out why. I mean,
so I have a theory on this.
Okay.
After having played No Man's Sky, do you think that it's possible that they're actually doing something to where it's more like save games? Kind of like what No Man's Sky is. No Man's Sky is instanced to where you're really just loading off of someone else's game. There is no great server out there holding everything and making everything happen. I'm kind of curious, just seeing how they did that to where there's, okay, you can have people in your group and you have people that it kind of brings into your area with you. I wonder if they're going to try to pull something like that to where it's not really a server that's hosting.
But there is
a session.
There is.
Well, they may have it communicating somewhat, but I wonder if they're really not having it like what we think of an ARC server or a 7 Days to Die server. It may be just very much less dedicated.
That is very possible, and that's probably the case. But I don't know why the hell you're doing a beta if all of the progression is going to be saved. Just release the freaking game in October and call it a day.
Yeah.
I mean, this just doesn't make any sense. It's not, as PH
is
saying, all the progress you make on the beta will transfer over to the release, which means it's not beta. It's not. What the hell's beta about it? I mean, I don't mind pre-ordering the game to get access to a beta, but delete my progress.
I think it's a hype stream. I think it's something where they're really wanting people to stream it, people to see it, and then, have a bigger launch day, I think is the main thing. But I think it's frustrating mostly because people will then have a head start. And this is a competition game. This is people working towards getting that access to the atom bomb at the very end and blowing up other people's bases. I mean, that's kind of the progression. If you give somebody however many days time of progress, I mean, we know how fast a lot of these games go. People are hitting crazy levels because they sit there and play for days straight.
Well,
in the first couple of days.
And I saw some of that on Twitter and Reddit, people saying, "Oh, so great! So I'm going to buy the game day one, spend $60 going to a server, and some guy's already going to have 60 hours on the game, and it's just going to be killing me on spawn." I
don't think they can really have dedicated servers because these are smaller groups.
This is true.
There's got to be some sort of peer-to-peer happening. There is going to be some sort of peer-to-peer.
But I just don't see how it's fair that you're getting into the beta and all of your progress is saved. I mean, it's all about pre-ordering the game.
It wasn't an odd decision. I mean, it did there. I didn't see any good reason of why they were doing that. I just don't. I can't think of a really good reason that would have you do that, because it's doing nothing but making the people that buy it on launch day have a disadvantage.
And that's exactly what it is. So they're trying to get pre-orders, but which I understand, but there's a couple things. First of all, this is Bethesda. They're not short on cash. So they're not some little indie studio that needs the pre-orders to make payroll next Tuesday. So it's not a cash issue. I just don't know why you would. I just don't know why they're calling it a beta. Just release the freaking game in October with some bugs and call it a day. I mean, I wouldn't be upset if there's there's going to be bugs no matter what, even with a beta.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some bugs day one because you're going to have a whole new set of players. So just release the freaking game in October and call it a day. Be out earlier. Mission problem solved.
Yeah, I think this for me is more of an indicator that this is less multiplayer than we're expecting. I think it's going to be it's kind of like with we play games where we're used to, I can log in at any time, have all this progress. I'm just curious if this is going to be something where when you get your hands on it and you get in there, like, oh, this is how they're doing it.
Yeah.
To where this won't matter as much. This won't matter because there's such a small chance that you're actually going to run into anybody that you don't know, I think is more of how it is.
Yeah. And just to kind of, I'm going to pull this off the top of my head from how this works. You can be in 4-player groups on a server. There's no server select screen on a server. And I believe there can be 16 or 18 people in a single game. I think something like that.
There's another game that's identical to this. It's No Man's Sky. That the numbers that you're giving me.
I hate the No Man's Sky system. It's awful.
But I'm saying
It
that's
sucks.
identical to what you just explained.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky is like 15 people in a zone.
Yep.
4-man groups.
Well, no, it's only 4-man on a. Oh no, you're right. You're right.
4-man groups,
Yeah.
15 people in a zone. It's identical to what No Man's Sky is doing. I just have a feeling that it's going to be based on save games,
which I by the way, I can't stand. Which is
not our playstyle. I think we're going to run into a lot of issues if that's what they're doing.
It's just frustrating as hell because it's like you're on a planet and then you log into somebody else's game and now you're not there anymore. You're with them.
So let's imagine really quick No Man's Sky how it works.
Yes, can
you log in?
You
connect to somebody's save game. You have your save game. What I've discovered is you each have your own save games, and then you can upload a base to the server so that you see it as well. So initially, when you build a base, other people don't see it. It doesn't get uploaded to. They call it the server, but what's that really mean?
The cloud.
And so I have a feeling that that's what you're going to be doing here is you can build a base, but then you have to somehow kind of sync it so that if someone else comes into that zone, they see your base as well. I think that one person's really owning the base, but other people can add on to it in your group, kind of like what No Man's Sky does. No Man's Sky, you can go in and go into someone else's ship, but you don't own that ship. And so I'm just wondering if this is going to be almost identical to the No Man's Sky system, which it kind of falls in lines with how the rest of Fallout is. Fallout's all save games. They didn't have any of this stuff before this to where you could see other players and do everything. They maybe just be doing a hybrid version of a single player game, which is what No Man's Sky did.
So if that's the case, I'll probably only play this single player if that's going to be the case, because I really dislike the No Man's Sky system. I don't like I don't like when I close the game and reopen it if I want to play with somebody else. Now I'm somewhere completely different. I'm not a fan of that.
Yep.
So fortunately for Fallout, it is a much smaller map, so you probably won't have to deal with that because the map's only so big. It's not the universe like No Man's Sky.
But if we run into this, it's kind of similar to how the Forest does it. And we've seen how much of a headache the Forest is at getting people to play and be all beyond and have everything work. I think what people really want is something to where I log in at any time. I can see our clan's base. I can work on our clan's base. All these things are happening. And it's not reliant so much on the client. I think that this could be, Stairwave saying, this could be a huge disaster. It could be. I mean, this may be a big letdown for people once they get their hands on it. If some people who want that single player type of a feel, maybe it's right up their alley. But I think maybe those people that are so used to Rust and they're so used to Ark, they're so used to all these games, they may find a big letdown because they're assuming something's going to be closer to that.
See, I disagree with you completely. The single player players just want single player. And the multiplayer, but see, this is my point.
That system more.
But my point is
then having something is totally online.
Well, so at that point, just keep it single player because what we're expecting is a full multiplayer game because that's pretty much what he said.
I think it's a selling point right now. I think they just wanted to say it's a multiplayer game. This is our first multiplayer game, but we'll see when it comes out, gets closer, and we start seeing the streaming of this, how multiplayer it is, because telling me that there's 16 or 18 or whatever people in an instance, that doesn't sound like a true multiplayer. That sounds like they're just allowing people to kind of come in and out of, to join up to another group's map. But who's going to own that map? That's a question that I have.
I know it really could be an absolute recipe for disaster. It really
we'll find out. That they've been really tight-lipped about it. And sometimes that's good because they want to surprise people, but sometimes it's because they don't want people to know until it's too close and they've already sold all their pre-orders.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing with people like, the Fallout's going for pre-orders. This is Fallout, for Christ's sakes. I mean, I'm buying it no matter what, Brian. You're buying this almost no matter what. A majority of the people are buying it no matter what because it's Fallout. The same way and the same reason, Brian. Come November, I don't know about you, but I'm going to be purchasing the new Call of Duty probably on the PlayStation 4. It's just what I do every year. It's another November, another Call of Duty. I buy it no matter what. Why? I don't know. I don't know. Because I want to, and I can. And it's the same thing with Fallout. Everybody wants. Same thing with GTA. Same thing with GTA. New GTA comes out, people buy it just because it's GTA. The new Battlefield's going to come out. Why am I buying it? Yeah, because it looks all right. But it's because it's a Battlefield game, and I always buy the Battlefield games every single time.
I think that Bethesda's shown that each time they do a Fallout game, it does move it forward. It is improving over time. You could say whether or not you feel like the story is better. I mean, that could be arguable. I think they've had some really good stories in the past. It'd be really hard to touch Fallout 4 as far as story.
Fallout 4.
I mean, compared to the ones that are based on Vegas, I think that you can like whatever set of stories you want, but I think technology-wise, they've always moved it forward. Improved their things over time somewhat. Not as drastic as some other games to where they're just doing crazy graphics, but I think this will be just another step forward. I don't know that it's going to be an online survival game. I don't think they're doing that big of a step forward. So that's why I think we need to keep it realistic. If they surprise us and it's like, oh, this is crazy, then sure. But I think this is just going to be another small step forward, and we need to realize that this may just be those sync save games. It may be the least amount of multiplayer that you can think of, but just think of it as a Fallout game. That you can kind of connect to and sync up and play a little bit together. I think you'll have a large group of people that are just, as you said, playing it because it's a Fallout game.
I mean, it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
They could polish a turd and slap the Fallout logo. I mean, look at that damn mobile game that came out. Fallout Shelter.
I played it for a little bit, but it was incredibly repetitive.
And it was so popular. It broke
I hit the end on it. There was nothing else to do.
When it first came out, which was at E3 in 2015, I think. I was in high school. It broke the iOS App Store when it came out.
That's crazy.
Because it's Fallout. I mean, we're talking about one of the most name-recognizable IPs that exist. So it doesn't matter what the hell they do. You are buying the game. There was
a limited number of things that you could place in your base, and I hit a point to where it's like, oh, you can't build it anymore. You can't do anything else. It's like, okay, this is the first mobile game I've hit to where you just hit the end, and it's like you can't build anymore. You can't do anything else. Maybe they've improved it since then, but I was kind of surprised. It was very short-sighted.
I'm not sure. I played it for like maybe 2 weeks religiously, like all the time, and then just stopped.
Yeah, and that's how I was. I played it, and then it was like, okay, I'm done with this. There's nothing new coming out.
Exactly. But nevertheless, Fallout, so it was very popular. So that's kind of the that's some of the drama this week with Fallout 76. It will not be on Steam due to Valve taking they didn't say this, but presumably it's Valve taking 30% of all sales. That's why they're rolling it. And they've already got their launcher. I mean, their Bethesda Net launcher. I don't know why I have it installed. But I guess I've played something on it at some point because I do have it on my computer. So it's there.
I think I had it for their card game.
Hearthstone, yes.
Yeah.
No, that's Blizzard.
You're thinking BattleNet.
Yeah.
I tested a card game that they have.
Gotcha. So I've got that. I've got the Bethesda Net, Battle.net, EA's Uplay, EA's Origin, Ubisoft's Uplay, and Steam. And I love how people are like, I do kind of hate that there's different launchers, but you go, all these launchers, like it costs money to have these launchers on your computer. I mean, this is the way it's going. So if
there wasn't competition though, like Steam would just never try to improve. I think that this is going to force Steam having some competition of, all right, we don't like the prices you have. We're going to put it on either our own launcher or someone else's launcher. They need that competition because Steam will just keep going forward how they are. You notice that now they're doing improvements. How long has it been since they've really done improvements to the Steam client? And then in this last week, they released and did all kinds of stuff to their Steam client. I think they're seeing that, okay, these companies now expect you to earn your money a little bit more. It's less of Steam is the only option.
Yeah. So I don't like that I have to have a launcher in different friends lists, but it's really not the ordeal that everybody makes it out to be. Like it's this terrible process
where you had one for every game, it'd be frustrating.
I agree.
there's you might have 5
There's
launchers if you play
a literal handful.
Yep.
I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. Do the launchers kind of suck and the friends list a little clunky? Yes. But I mean, this is not some, oh, I'm not buying the game because it's not. I mean, if you want to play the freaking game, you're going to play it. And that's exactly what's going to happen with Fallout. People want to play Fallout 76. They'll download the free Bethesda Net launcher and play it. Yeah. I mean, this is not some earth-shattering reveal. I wish it was on Steam because it would be integrated with everything else, but it's not. But it's not going to stop me from playing the game under any circumstances because that's just stupid. It's free. Yeah. You just literally need an email address, which you already have because you have a Steam account and a Discord and everything else. I mean, we're talking about tech nerds. We're talking about people that I've got 19 freaking email addresses. I mean, like really, I just need to put in an email address and I have an account. Instant. Boom.
Well, and I think that this is where we hinted this before, but where Tencent can come in. Not that I want them having a program on my computer, but they do have their hands in a lot of the games that people play. They're the ones who could negotiate. All right, we're going to have a launcher that covers all these different platforms, all these different game clients. Start rolling in the Epic launcher because it's silly that Epic has their same one for the Unreal Engine for developing mixed in with their Fortnite that all these kids are launching. It's just creating the possibility of when Fortnite has too much load, then the game developers can't work on their game.
That's a problem.
I mean, that's a big problem. And so I think that's where they could bring in and say, all right, let's make a launcher that competes with Steam. Start bringing in, because we can get Fortnite on there. I'm sure we could get Bethesda on there. Start getting these big ones, the Uplay, all the stuff from Uplay you could bring into this launcher. I mean, you could create a launcher that instantly has a bunch of games that are major title games and just have it be to where it's less about making a 30% commission, maybe a little more realistic cost, but it's a place where these companies, they could do their own sales, but that's the launcher it loads. And that handles all the bandwidth. I mean, they could come up with something that makes it so that Steam is less required in the industry.
Well,
because they don't need Steam. Steam could be its own thing. They obviously can make their own launchers.
And our friend Ross in chat is pointing out where Steam. Somebody just typed in, scroll my message. Where Steam lost out is its chat. I had the IM, but it's all VoIP now. And Discord has taken over. Steam will die. I don't know if Steam will die, but the Steam, nobody communicates on Steam. You send each other
It doesn't work well.
You send each other invites on Steam. But I mean, Brian, I don't think you and I have ever used Steam as a communication
for voice chat.
Very rarely for text. And even with that,
it's frustrating to use. I mean, it's not user friendly.
The mobile app sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they've not. That's my issue partially with Steam is a customer service, and I don't think they really think of the customer. I don't think they ever really have. I mean, if you look at their customer service, it's horrible. If you ever had to interact with Steam customer service, it's not good.
Yeah.
And the services that they provide, other than updates and selling you a game, what does Steam provide you? It's a directory. It's a sales directory.
And friends list.
Updater. People tend to not use it for much more than that.
Yeah, Ross
so
is
really
saying,
doesn't have that much of the market. I think that's why Twitch wants to compete with it. They keep putting these games on the Twitch marketplace or on for the games that they're giving away. I think that they are eyeing how they can compete with Steam.
Well, look at what Discord is doing now. When you launch Discord, the home screen is now all of your friends and what games they're playing. I can see I've got PH and Firebomb are playing WoW. Joe and Deacon are playing Conan. Somebody else is playing something else. I mean, all that stuff was right in the home screen. And there was buttons to launch games both on Steam. Overwatch was on that list, and so was Fortnite, all within Discord. Yeah. I mean, Discord has got their eye on Steam in terms of taking them out. If Discord starts selling games, which I don't believe
they can get people to launch them. If they can get people to launch the games from Discord somehow,
they're over.
Get that habit,
yeah.
Because then they can say, "All right, you can purchase it here," and some people will bypass and not even realize they're not going through Steam anymore.
Yeah, and I do want to thank our friend Firebomb, who cheered us and is coming in with a pro tip. Brian, he says, "Don't play Fortnite with Nick. He will keep saying one more match." you guys all left, and Firebomb was up in the first channel, so I hopped up real quick, and he was like, "Oh man, I just shut the game." I was like, "Let's just play one." We literally played 8 games. Nice. We played for like a solid hour and a half, probably more, and we had a lot of fun with it. So thank you, Firebomb. We appreciate it. And he was our resident Fortnite expert. He's kind of been, I think he's probably one of the people in our group that's playing it the most. I constantly see him on it. So
yeah, he and Tag plays it quite a bit.
Okay.
So we've got a few
I don't think
people
I'm friends with him on Discord, so I don't see that. I should not need a friend.
Bingo, boom, shakalaka.
And Locklor coming in with the
6 months sub.
Yeah, and he's got a question for you, Brian. New Idaho resident here. What's the deal with the heat, Brian? I was lied to.
I know it's been in the 90s. Maybe at the hottest, it's got to what, 97.
I don't know.
Which depends where you're from. How hot that, whether you consider that hot. But the thing is, there's no humidity.
Yeah.
So you come here, it's a desert. There's zero humidity, and so even if it's a hot temperature, it's not like down south when it gets hot, like you're just dripping with sweat. It's not like that. So
yeah, the good old mid-Atlantic heat, which we've got over here right now. So thank you, Lock.
I think he's in North Idaho, maybe.
I
think I remember talking to him. I think he was going up more north.
Well, thank you to Locklor and our friend Firebomb. I appreciate both of you. All right. Well, we're about 50 minutes into the show here, Brian.
Yes.
Let's see. Let's talk about Ark, kind of. That might be a good topic.
This is something that was kind of out of left. I didn't see this coming. Maybe some other people had seen this, but this was kind of a surprise video. We were asking last week, so what are they doing? We assume that they're sitting there working on the next expansion that's coming out at the end of the year.
What are they doing?
Well, I think that they're working on a brand new title, which let's show a little video of that so people can, mostly new title.
All right.
And we'll watch the video and see why.
What exactly did we just watch there, Brian?
All right, so this is a title called Atlas. This was actually a video that somebody had posted, I think, in the ARC forums.
It was on the ARC YouTube
and then it was
channel.
immediately taken down. I don't think it was supposed to be public.
Yes, and
it very much, there's a lot of ARC elements, assets from ARC mixed through that trailer. They have the bear, they have the bear, they have the horses. Now, one thing I want to mention: these people standing around, just knowing how Wildcard does their things like this. I was thinking before those might be NPCs, but I think these are all just characters that they've placed. I don't think these are NPCs, because you notice whenever they do videos for ARC, there's a lot of people standing around and acting like they're doing things. Those are always players. Player characters. They're not actual NPCs. And so I have a feeling that the only NPCs really are the skeletons and things like that you're seeing.
So this is
very much Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I was going to say we've got a little subgenre going on right now of pirate and ship and sea games. And this looks like it's going to be the next step, except what you're seeing right now on the screen, which is it also appears to have a pretty sophisticated off-board experience as well.
You're going and finding treasure,
fighting at
I don't know why they're.
This is off. All of this stuff's off ship. So, and looks like there's quite a big village off base there. So, I don't really know.
Well, I think it partially has you build a base, because you construct a ship.
You do build the ship. That's at the end.
I think that it probably is a preset ship, to where then you're having to deliver resources to it to finish completion of it. So that'll be a group aspect. Everybody works together, and you can see the ship kind of slowly coming together as you guys move. Because you notice to the left, that was a fast forward scene. You could see a lot of people going back and forth for that.
Yeah.
Then you get these pretty big ships that allow you to do these, what look like epic sea battles. You can also attack bases that are on the shore, which they show as well.
It's crazy.
So I that's where I think that these are similar bases that you're building to ARC. And just like they have base raiding, they're having a mechanic here where you can attack from your ship as well. So
yeah, this was accidentally posted to the ARC YouTube channel, which I would assume that somebody tried uploading it as unlisted,
a private or unlisted,
and accidentally had it set to public. Fortunately, somebody downloaded it and then re-uploaded it. PH was speculating this is an internal trailer for probably either PAX or Gamescom. Unfortunately, they're not at PAX. I already looked. So it's probably for Gamescom, which is coming up here shortly, I believe, which is over in Germany, I think Gamescom is.
I'm not sure. So
Atlas, kind of not ARC, but it's made by Wildcard, and hopefully this will be.
I'm sure they'll be switching out assets as well. They probably were coming up with some of these things of using, like the bear, these things being pulled by the bear. Maybe that's meant, maybe they're coming up with new assets of something that's not going to be a bear pulling around a cart. Who knows?
Yeah. So
since it wasn't officially released, we don't know how much of it was for testing. Coming up with the bare bones of the trailer. Maybe there's things they're going to swap out.
And I'm excited. I'm excited that we'll have another new game to talk about. Obviously, ARC's news has kind of ceased to exist, and this game will be close enough to our realm, probably. It looks like it'll have a base building system and a ship building system. That this will be something new for us to cover.
Group play is the main thing that we're looking for, is things that people can play together.
Exactly, and this looks like this will be right up our alley here. So Atlas, expect to hear something from Wildcard. I guess Gamescom is at the end of the month. So you can expect something within the next month or so here. Looking forward to it.
Yep. Very good. All right. Do you have a preference on where we go? Do you want me to set up the giveaway?
Let's do that. We're about an hour into the program, and I'll take this quick note to, if I can find my screen, Brian, we are officially halfway to our goal. So thanks everybody for that. And as that being the case, we will we've hit our first donation goal, and we will be producing a before PAX bonus show that will likely take place Thursday night. It'll be a short little live stream recorded thing that we'll throw up on YouTube, and we'll just go through who we're going to go see and who we're going to go talk to, banter. I'm sure somebody will have an interesting travel story. It'll be inevitable that we'll have something to talk about.
It won't be me this time.
No, it won't be you. We'll have the booze and the ladies a flowing during the during this show. So it'll be a good time. So we'll be doing our before PAX bonus show, and we'll look forward to that Thursday night before PAX. That will be August the 30th. That will be live. It'll be probably a little bit late on the East Coast, as we will be on Pacific time, but it'll be up on YouTube as well after the fact. So thanks to everybody that's made that possible. Appreciate it, and appreciate you supporting us on our road out to the great old West Coast.
Yes. All right. So let's go ahead and start. This will be exclamation point giveaway. This will be a 60-point raffle. So if you've been listening for the last hour, you will be able to enter this. And I'm going to be giving away a copy of The Escapist 2. This is strategy multiplayer pixel graphics co-op 2D. Has mostly positive, and it's been out for about a year now, coming up on almost a year of being out. So normally a $20 title. So if you don't have this, go ahead and exclamation point giveaway in chat, and then we will give it away here before the end of the show.
Absolutely. And maybe you are listening to this after the fact on podcast, or on YouTube, or maybe some other way. We are live here almost every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. We do the show live. We interact with the chat, as you've seen. We take questions from the chat and banter back and forth with them. Plus, you can win some games and kind of be part of the whole show. So hopefully you can join us. We're here every Tuesday, or most Tuesdays, and we have been for the last 185 weeks. I've moved halfway across the country. We've done shows from remote locations. Brian was in France, I believe.
France, yeah.
We've been all over the place. So we're here. We're dedicated, and we're going to continue with the show. So have no fear.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm like signaling like something was going wrong with the show. I'm trying to stress the point that we've done shows where most podcasts would say, "Oh, we'll take the week off." "Oh, you're going to France? Just take the week off." We've stuck with it, and we're steady. We'll have a show jet lagged the Tuesday. Well, I'll be jet lagged.
The day after we get back.
You won't be quite so bad. I'll be pretty screwed up on that. So all that
we will be exhausted. PAX, you'd be surprised how much a convention, especially when you're moving around the floor as much as we are, walking all day for multiple days. Like, you're exhausted when you get home. We were exhausted by Sunday, I remember.
Yeah. And
so yeah, this will be quite the adventure.
Absolutely. I remember when I was out in Vegas a couple of months ago for the National Association of Broadcasters show. We were out there for like 50 some odd hours, real quick turnaround. Yep. Man, did I sleep like a baby when I got back. I was exhausted. So nevertheless, we're going to have a great time. And we're all good on that front. All right. Let's
give a preference.
Yeah, I do actually. I'm steering this ship tonight, Brian. I'm your captain. Let's talk about H1Z1. We have not really had a whole bunch of H1Z1 news in quite some time, and I think
it might be debatable how much of this is actually news, though.
True. Cue the
opinion on
Ron Paul "It's Happening" gif. Jace Hall, who I'm sure you've heard of before. He is the president of the Twin Galaxies group. He also is kind of in charge of
kind of handling all those tournaments, and
he's also in charge of the
teams.
H1Z1 PL, the pro, or is kind of co-managing that
the Pro League
with Twin Galaxies and in partnership with Daybreak. He's a very active, or a very vocal voice. Vocal voice doesn't make any sense. Very vocal in the H1Z1 community, because he's of course dealing with this H1P1, the Pro League, and the esports side of it. They're doing tournaments in Vegas.
He's invested on H1Z1 being successful.
Absolutely.
Because he has a lot of this, he started that pro league before the downfall of H1Z1. Back in the heyday, they created this pro league, and then right when the pro league was about to start is when H1Z1 tanked.
Yes.
So that's just kind of putting in perspective of the investment. He put in money and a bunch of probably contracts and all kinds of stuff right when they thought that this thing was just going to keep going like crazy and, you know, millions of sales.
So he tweeted out a video of a Commodore emulator with some text being written across the screen, which essentially said, "I am in charge of H1Z1 now." I'm going to just quickly read some of his statement here because he made a forum post today on the H1Z1 forum, which is the first time that we've had like a full public response. Dear H1Z1 PC community, first of all, I would like to express deep appreciation to everyone for their continued passion, support, and interest in H1Z1 PC. Without the players, there is no future for the game. You matter above all. End of story. Now, as many of you already know, a few days ago I mentioned on my Twitter that I have taken the lead on the PC version of H1Z1. For this moment, the absolute entire details surrounding the change of control has not been it's not public yet. They haven't articulated all of it yet. However, there's some very rational and some NDA stuff, yada yada. It keeps mentioning NDA. There's some legal things that they're trying to sort out. Who was in charge of it most recently? It wasn't Brad Wilcox. He left. No, he now works somewhere else. I don't remember who was in charge of it recently, but I'm sure there's some shifting of roles going on because he does not work for Daybreak, and he doesn't indicate that he works for Daybreak. So he's kind of co-managing it somehow.
So, okay, so I looked into that, and from what I can tell, he is. So I have a link to this. He is it's more of a partnership.
Yes, that's the word.
Not employee. He's a partnership, and he is the dev leader, is what they're calling it.
Yes.
He is not in charge of any departments. It's kind of a weird collaboration. And he's not in charge of anything really. I think he's more of a spokesman. And personally, that's what I've kind of gathered from.
And that's what's kind of weird about it. He says, you know, there are very rational, and there's some NDA related reasons that things have been delayed and things can't be talked about as of right now. So I'll keep going with this. It says, generally speaking, things that the community, in all caps, wants are things that the community will get, which we've been down this road. That's an ignorant statement to make.
It's easy to promise till you actually have to deliver it.
It's not a question of if.
That's the thing is, what does he have to deliver? What does Jace Hall had to deliver? He can say whatever he wants before this point, because he's just been a side guy saying, we're going to make H1Z1 great. But he hasn't actually delivered anything, right? He's been a hype man for H1Z1 because he has an investment in it. Yeah. He's never at any point had to turn around and follow up with any of those promises. And I think that here, if he's going to be taking this kind of, you know, a lead of telling the devs, you know, what the community wants, he's then going to be responsible if they don't turn around and deliver that.
So let me read through this whole statement because I think it's interesting. Generally speaking, things that the community wants are things that the community will get. It's not a question of if we are going to deliver desired changes to the player base. It's only a question of when. Count on it. The game is a service. A good service delivers what its customers want. It's that simple.
Okay, but what do they want?
No, but nevertheless, let's just. I don't want to.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. He's saying you're going to get what you want.
Yeah, but see, we've already been down this road. What the community wanted is what they implemented, and then they did a half-assed job of implementation. Everybody hated it.
Everybody what they want. the community doesn't want the same thing. So how are you going to give everything to everyone? That's his statement is so vague. That's what kind of drives me crazy. Is how is he going to give everything to everyone?
This is a very PR statement. We need to.
The community is going to get everything that they want. You just got to give it time. How? It's impossible. You can't.
Yeah. Okay, Brian, we've got to, let's just from one side, let's be realistic here. This is a PR response right here. I mean, he is trying to hype the game, which I have to give him credit for. So he goes into the NDA things. He says, it is important to know, and after I read this, I want to chat about this. He says, it's important to note that no matter how hard we try, nothing is ever going to be absolutely perfect, and not everyone will be totally and completely satisfied. Not what he just said. With that being said, we will always strive for the best Together we will make some mistakes. Together we will acknowledge and admit that they happened. Together we will immediately revert, change, or remove them without hesitation. I like that. Now, scrolling through this a little bit more, he says something in here, Brian, that completely encapsulates you and I. I don't know if you've read through this already. He goes, notwithstanding those specific answers for those that are interested, here are some, not all, of my general personal beliefs regarding H1Z1. I believe that H1Z1 has a tremendous amount of potential, and the community is unique, incredible, and passionate. This is the part that really is us right here. I believe that a good portion of the community's toxicity may be the result of people loving the game so much that they have become frustrated over time that H1Z1 PC not reaching the potential they know it should achieve. We were
demoralized over time.
He is the first person in any role at Daybreak that I believe has ever said this. That is the nail on the head. The reason Brian and I can't talk about H1Z1 without ripping Daybreak to shreds is because we loved the game so much and watched how poorly it was driven into the dumps that we are so pissed.
Day one, we looked at it and said, this is an excellent starting point for a game. This could be so cool. This would be so much fun.
We had so much hope that 186 weeks later, we are still doing a podcast that all was based around a game that came out, H1Z1. At the time, it was the zombie survival game. This is reference to the PC version of the King of the Kill version, but it's the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing. It's still encapsulating the problem, and it's summing it up perfectly. So he goes through a whole bunch of beliefs, which a little long to get into, but there's a whole bunch of things that he really believes that he can do. Nevertheless, he's kind of in charge. He's going to be kind of steering the ship, kind of, and I think he is going to be steering the ship in the direction that they haven't had since Smedley was part of the company. Now, I know Smedley was the zombie guy, but nevertheless, I don't believe they've had a strong driver in
one person saying, here's what the community, or here's what I want, or the community wants. With Smedley, it was, here's what I want, right?
Yep.
And I think that was good. That worked for him. I think this is, I think that Jace has a good idea of what most of the community wants, or maybe even the competitive community wants, right? So I think that he will be able to explain that to them, but here's where the issue will come over time. If it's still not delivered, because he can't make them deliver more. He's not a developer. He can't go in there and fix it himself.
Yep.
If they still can't deliver, there will be a point to where the money behind H1Z1 once again says, all right, we can't put the resources into this anymore. It's not, if it doesn't turn around and start getting sales again, money doesn't start coming in, it will be pulled away just the same, regardless of whether or not he's hyping for it, unless he's willing to put in his own money.
Now, I've got to give him credit for being a hype man, because I'm sure it's very tough to do in this crazy kind of environment that H1Z1 is right now. So I think we need to keep that in mind. I say we, I mean you and I, and then obviously everybody else reading this stuff. We've got to keep this in mind. He is the hype man for this game. Now, I did ask him earlier on Twitter, I don't remember exactly. Let me see if I can find the tweet. It's not popping up here for some reason. I asked him, I said, how about, somebody tweeted him and asked, I'm so interested in the changes coming, I'm craving the details. And he responded to that person and said, you already know what changes are coming. It's all the changes the community wants now and forever. I tweeted him and asked from the infection.
What's that mean?
Not even that. I asked him, I said, how about just survive? Because H1Z1 PC is king of the kill, and he liked the tweet. I don't know what that means. I guess he likes a lot of tweets.
Yeah.
But he's liked apparently a lot of just survive tweets on Twitter. So and of course some jackass tweeted us back, it's a separate game now, therefore H1Z1 doesn't have anything to do with that. It's a separate dev team. I mean, really, you don't think we know that? You don't think that the Infection podcast on Twitter knows that? I mean, are you freaking kidding me? Yes, we know. I get it. It's a separate dev team. But they work in tandem. It's the same people. It's not a separate dev team. That's a load of crap. They're both working on it. And he's saying he's taking over H1Z1 PC. What the hell's going on with Just Survive? That's all. That's what my question.
That would be where they could still make money. I think they hit their capacity on H1Z1, the Battle Royale. I think that the place that they could still make money is people getting back into Just Survive. Like if they wanted it, that they could create a client that people actually wanted to play, people would buy the skins for Just Survive. People would do all those things. So they're separate clients. That's one of the only ways they're going to actually make money again without coming up with a totally new game. So that's what I don't understand is why are they trying to squeeze more out of this?
Well,
because it's hit its capacity of what people are going to buy.
Well, no, but it's the esport that I would assume. I don't know Jace Hall. I'm going to reach out to him. I'd love to have him on the show, and he probably will come on because he's a public face and he's a hype man, which is, I mean, everybody you need a hype man to kind of drive the train in these situations. And he said throughout this post, there's no more of this, oh, we're going to keep something secret and then release it to the community. You will know exactly what's going on with everything. He mentioned the word roadmap. We've heard transparency in the past. It's always been a load of BS. We've heard probably 3 or 4 times, we're going to be transparent with everything we do. And then
I think the culture at Daybreak was so bad, though. Like, no, I have a feeling, and being that we're only seeing this from the outside, we're seeing a perspective, but from the behaviors and the track record that I've seen from Daybreak, I think they had an incredibly bad internal culture that people just worked on. Like there was never a follow through. I mean, because that's what we ran into. Like they would do one thing one day. And then they would drop it the next day, even though like for our private our server that wasn't really private for all the different plans.
Yeah.
They told us we're going to do this. They promised us.
It was in the games,
and they started it, but they never followed through. And I think that was a track record for them. There was never the follow through. If you could have somebody come in and say, here's what we're going to make, and at least follow through to the end of putting it in there, at that point, if it happens, then at least you have the option of taking it out and say, hey, you know what? We put it in. We realized it didn't work. We just have had so many promises over time. We don't know if they would have worked or not because you never finished them. You partially did a lot of things. Mm-hmm. You poorly did a lot of things. You never actually implemented very much. And that was really shown with Just Survive as well. I mean, look at how much stuff they barely did on that new one. We don't know if it would have worked because they never finished base building.
Yeah.
They never finished the sections of how it worked. So it was just frustrating.
Yes, I agree. Very frustrating. I would love to continue to talk about this, and we will in weeks coming, but we've only covered 4 topics, and we've got a whole bunch of news to get into. So Jace Hall is now kind of driving the train, steering the ship on H1Z1. It's starting with the King of the Kill version. The possibility that it may move over to Just Survive at some point. Is there some hope that Just Survive may make a comeback? I hope so, because Jace's comments that people are so toxic because they were so passionate and loved the game so much and the company never delivered is 100% accurate. It is exactly, I'm going to speak for you, Brian, in this. It exactly describes how you and I feel. 100%, and probably most of the people watching the show. So much potential, so poor execution. You can look at the current result. Nobody plays the game because it sucks. So put a pin in that, and we've got about another million things to get into. So I've done my ship steering. Where would you like to go?
I just want to mention something about 7 days.
Yeah, what's going on?
Because we've been trying to guess when the date is going to be for 7 Days to Die for this Alpha 17 patch. I have a feeling that we will know because they've asked for a list of streamers to stream this probably for a week.
Yes.
Beforehand, before it's actually released. So I think we will start seeing it on Twitch that week coming up to release. So I think we're at least a week out because they haven't announced it. We're not seeing people on Twitch streaming it. They said it was going to be in August. So it may be another week before they release it to the streamers, and then it may be another week that they're playing it. So it could be at the very end of the month that we're actually.
But I thought they said late July, early August
is what they started with. But being that they haven't released it to those streamers yet, it's definitely not going to be Friday, because we would have seen it to those streamers first by now.
Yeah.
If it was going to be Friday. So if it's next week, we may see at the beginning of the week, they've released it to the streamers. We see it on Twitch by a number of streamers. Before, they always released it to 4. They released it to 4 streamers that showed it on Twitch. Now they've opened it up to other streamers that can show it off. So they collected for like a month. They've had an opportunity to enter for that. Those people will then be able to show it on their Twitch streams for that week, or for however many days they do. So that's why I know there's very small chance that they're going to have it on Friday.
Can we get somebody on the show when they release it to the streamers to talk about the game? Do you have a contact there?
I'm just not. Oh, you mean at Fun Pimps?
Yeah.
I mean, the only one would really be Joel. We could ask, but he doesn't do these kind of things. He's kind of a different kind of guy when it comes to this. He does his stream. We could ask, but I just really have a feeling that they won't, just based on previous. Maybe they haven't been asked.
Let's ask.
Maybe we had the guy from Minecraft here, or not Minecraft, but from
Unturned, Nelson Sexton.
Yeah, sorry.
We had Notch on the show.
Not Notch, sorry. Yeah. But we had Nelson on here, and we asked, and this is the first interview he did like that. So maybe it is that Joel's kind of a standoff guy from what I've gathered on him. And so maybe people just don't approach him because he doesn't put himself out there.
Yeah. Well,
we'll ask him and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we absolutely do that. Yeah. Just to clarify, just to not be the spreading of fake news, Notch.
It wasn't Notch.
Notch will not be on the show. We actually are going to have Microsoft on the show. Just Microsoft themselves will be sitting in on the show.
We could ask Notch. I mean, he now that he's not really doing as much, he may be like, oh, sure.
He's active on Twitter. I'm sure I could say something to get him, riled up. So, okay. Yeah, there you go. So, yes, I would like to reach out to him. A little disappointed that it's not out yet. Got a comment chat here. I really wanted 7 Days to do well. It's just slow updating, and it's been
like a year. It's coming up on a year since their last update. We're right. Like October was last year. I think October was when they released.
I mean, that sucks.
Yeah. Now, Alpha 18, they've got to be getting close. They're doing a lot of changes. They've been upgrading their engine. They've been redoing textures. Like, this is a big set of changes, but if they're going to keep doing, if there's going to be an Alpha 18, Alpha 19, Alpha 20, they can't do it at this pace. So they've got to start doing smaller.
I will have a wife
updates.
And kids by the time they reach Alpha 20.
Alpha 20? Yeah.
6 years from now.
I think that Alpha 20 would be, I don't think they have that many more ahead of them. I think they're getting close to feature complete that they've been aiming for. I think they'll release and that'll be the end of it. Do you think they're going to come out? This was based on like a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And so I think that they are going to be delivering the promises that they made in Kickstarter. I don't know if they're going to be releasing a game after that. Do you think they will? I mean, I haven't heard any hint of them seeming to want to. They are, PH says they are hiring, but I think they're hiring for this next couple patches, which could be 2 years worth of patches at their current rate.
Yeah, literally. I just, I don't know. I don't know what I have no idea. I mean, when it's literally been a year since they've done an update. How many more updates? I mean, they can't do another year.
They may. Alpha 8, I bet you that they'll probably, I think they maybe learn their lesson from this one, because I think they tried to do more like 6-month patches. I think they'll probably try, I think they bit off a lot with this one, with redoing a lot of the shaders and all this other stuff. I have a feeling that maybe we'll see 6-month patches after that.
No, it's too long. You got to do a patch at least every 3 months, if not sooner. I mean, here's the thing, Brian. They
can make it all for 3 months, but they were doing like every 6 months before.
They can't, dude. They can't. You've got to do an update at least every 3 months. I mean, people have not played this game in over a year. I have not played this game in over a year. I haven't even had
only the dedicated hardcore are still playing this game.
But that's not. That's not where the money is. Your dedicated hardcore is a couple of players. I'm not crapping on the hardcore players. Believe me, I'm not. But you can't do an update every 8 or 9 months and go, oh, hey, we are still making a game. We're on update 17 FP334.
Yeah.
Updated the tree graphics. I mean, really? Like, let's get on with it.
Yeah. And now they've gone through, for them, that's a big step. They went through and redid all those trees. They redid the shader and they're redoing a lot of the graphics. I'm keeping it in 7 days perspective as far as what they generally tend to do with updates. They've done some cool things, but they've got to wrap it up in this next patch or two. I mean, I don't see 2 more patches in them.
They can't do 2. I mean, 2 patches. You are literally looking at 2020 with 2 more patches.
Yeah. And the thing is the Crinkle Lad, he says that even dev logs would be nice from them. He does these kind of like dev streams every once in a while, but it's pretty much him just kind of running around the world. He's not giving too much information.
Yeah.
He's just like, hey, here's the zombie that we added, and he spawns it in the world and he shoots it a couple times. Then he runs around, to different areas and say, hey, look, doesn't that look good? I mean, I'm kind of talking like him. I've watched these things looking for all this information, but he just runs around and just kind of shows stuff off. It's not an organized, like, here's the stuff we're working on. Here's the stuff that's going to come in the future. They're very tight-lipped about what's coming.
We're going to have to do like a whole 2-hour episode on the patch notes for this Alpha 17. It may
be like six plus pages.
You know what we should, it'll be more than that. You know what we should do? I hope it's like 50 pages. We should go and get copies printed up at Staples and read through them on this show, like a radio show, and just with a stack of papers and just read through the patch notes. I think that would be a lot of fun. It's gonna have to be at least a dozen pages. It's been a year, Brian. A year.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It'll be interesting. So that's the 7 days, the non-7 days news. But I was just looking at it and saying, oh, they're going to be releasing this week. No, there's no way. Until we see that notice to those streamers and the streamers actually starting to stream it, then we'll have a realistic, okay, maybe in a week we'll be able to play now.
So that's why I've got the wrong graphic up. So that's why this Friday night we will be playing Grand Theft Auto for our game of the week. For the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing games that are very easy to push, like Grand Theft Auto, so that when 7 days comes out on a Monday or a Wednesday or Thursday, we can quickly snap our server into place and swap it out. So, look forward to that. Let's talk about.
Do you mind if we?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, do you want to talk a little bit about Miscreated?
Yes, they actually had a pretty big update this week.
Yes. So this is update 62, and they have an interesting mechanic that I haven't really seen on any other games, but they have what they call the vomit barf overconsumption. So it's now when you overconsume food. So if you're just going through these houses and eating and drinking everything that you come across, do you think part of this is to prevent people from just eating the food just so it's not in the world anymore to hurt other people?
Yes. Because most of the time in this game, I mean, we don't play it all the time, but when we do, whenever you run by food, you pretty much
pick it up and
top yourself off.
You just eat, you eat it.
Yeah, to top yourself off.
And so now if you do that, you'll actually lose 40% of your food and drink if you eat too much to where it causes you to vomit.
I like it.
So vomiting can be caused in a less potent way by sickness, poison, dizziness, or radiation sickness, which is kind of linked to those weather effects that they've been working on of having radiation and things like that. So in this case, only a fourth of the food or drink is lost. After the vomiting, the player feels slightly better if he was dizzy before. And then they added, here's kind of in your environment. I like this because it brings a little bit of realism, but humidity, visible, warm breath. So if the combination of the difference of air to exhaled air temperature and air humidity is high enough, so let's say it's really cold outside, the player's breath becomes visible. So the breath frequency is based on the stamina drain of the character. It works in combination with the hold breath action. So what they're saying is if your stamina is low, which means you're breathing harder, you're breathing faster, it'll make it match what your breath probably would be like. If you're holding your breath, it's not going to show a breath animation. I think that they're just stating the mechanics of it, but that's what you would expect. The breath visibility duration depends on how fast the exhaled humidity can be absorbed in the air. So they're just basing it off of kind of what they're assuming would be realistic of how cold it is or what the environment is. If it's really freezing, it'll kind of stay lingering there for a moment. They're adding wetness. So when you go underwater, or if it's raining, or maybe it's high humidity, it will make your player become wet. Then a player gets wet enough, water begins dripping to the ground for a certain period of time until the player is dry enough again. Wet players have a medium protection against heat and fire. So I guess if you're around fire, you could, or maybe you run into the water if somebody's shooting some sort of a flaming arrow at you, I guess. But they are more susceptible to cold. So if you get in the water, you get out and it's really cold outside, you will then have issues. So this is one thing they're really bringing in, that hot, cold temperature changes, snow and all these things that they're going to be bringing in, having actual, I guess, maybe not true seasons, but variations in the environment, which will be nice.
Yeah. And it's not many games. I mean, Ark has got an environment that is a problem. No Man's Sky obviously has an environment that's a problem, but generally the environment doesn't typically play a huge role. Well, it just doesn't
tend to change.
They don't tend to change.
You may go to different places. Like Ark, it did slightly change, like it would say, but the environment around you didn't really change that much.
Yeah.
Like you're in a snow environment. It wasn't like the beach got snow on it. So this will be interesting because this one's actually going to change. It's not going to be based on region like we usually see.
So
go
ahead.
Yeah. Do you want to do the next set? It's up to you.
No, I was just going to make the comment that it's not. Every game has got an environment. Of course, you have to have an environment to have the game. I don't think many games take advantage of the environment the way that, like, 7 Days has got a pretty decent environment. Miscreated's environment previously was rain or shine. I mean, there was
no real temperature change.
No, there was no temperature change. There was just none of that stuff. So it's cool to see environment stuff like this happening because it's already in the game.
And then they can add these weather effects, and it just makes it feel more realistic, which is what they've been going for.
The H1Z1 snow. I'm being reminded from PH. Remember we saw those pictures that one time?
Yeah, that was great. So now they're also adding support for vehicle skins, so you can skin/paint vehicles now. As you drive the pickup, the truck, the sedan, or the semi, which is a new vehicle, it now has a random chance that you'll be awarded a new skin for vehicles you are driving. So encourage you to find a vehicle and drive around in it because you might get a random skin. Skins for additional vehicles will be added in future updates. All the current skins are just solid color variants. So they have it to where you just can get different variation colors of that vehicle. Vehicle skins can be sold and traded via the Steam inventory. So if you do come across these, you can then sell them, or maybe you don't want to drive around and try to find these vehicles, you can buy them. A new vehicle paint shop has been added to the map. Vehicles must be taken there to be skinned. So it's not just you're driving down the road and I'm going to skin it green. You actually have to go to a paint shop to do this, which if you're someone who likes to shoot people, kind of a bandit, maybe that would encourage you to hang around a paint shop.
And a vending machine, yeah.
Yes. Paint shop exterior graffiti has been prided by this clan, actually made some really cool graffiti that we're going to show here in a little bit. That they're putting around these paint shops. Vehicle kiosk is located in the building that will show you all the vehicle skins you have. It costs AM coins, which is that new currency, to skin and paint a vehicle. So once again, getting people to play, you can't just randomly, just skin every vehicle you get. The cost of skins will eventually vary based on the skin. So if it's a really rare skin, maybe it's got a lot of detail to it, then they'll have it to where that costs more AM coins to paint versus a very basic painting set. So skins on a vehicle will persist through server restart. So once you skin it, that vehicle will stay that color until it's probably destroyed. The repair kits have been added to the game and will allow you to now repair most weapons. I think they took them out for a while. The health of the current repair kit determines how much it will repair a weapon. So 15% repair kit will repair its corresponding weapon by 15%. You can combine health kits together. So 15 and 30% will become a 45% kit. Anything will be over 100 will be lost. So that's a health kit, not a repair kit. So you can combine health kits, make it a stronger health kit. If you have one, let's say a 98% health kit, and you add a 15% to it, you will lose all that excess health from that. You won't get 100 and whatever percent health kit. A weapon can be broken down into a repair kit for that weapon. The health of the weapon determines, and maybe I'm wondering if they said health kit, but I'm wondering if that also will work with repair kits as well. So they say, kind of thinking, when they say health kit, are they meaning repair kit? I think they might be meaning repair kit.
I would guess.
I'm guessing. I think that's a mistyping in their thing, but we'll see once we get in there and actually try it out. A weapon can be broken into the repair kit for the weapon. The health of the weapon determines the health of the resulting repair kit. So as you use it, it will then just subtract that number. You repair a weapon or combine repair kits by dragging and dropping them into the UI. The background of that applicable item will turn blue. So now then that, because they have repair kits in there, now they're having it to where you actually have item damage and degradation. So all weapons now spawn with a random amount of health. So not everything is 100%. And then they can be repaired to 100% in order to be stored in a kiosk, because you can't put a 50% item in a kiosk. It has to be 100%. In this update, the health of an item does not affect its performance, but it will in the next update. So right now, if you have a 50% item, it doesn't mean that it's going to do less damage. But I guess in this update 63, then it will start to actually affect that. So, for example, a player gets shot in the chest, it is possible both the jacket and the shirt will be damaged. So that these weapons now will affect clothing. So when a player does damage, whatever they're wearing will take that damage now. So only a small amount of clothing has a health value and can currently be damaged, but all clothing with will have a health value in the next update. So they're still implementing that. Other than that, they did some server fixes, and they added better emote reliability and speed. So now they actually, all the emotes will happen more likely. I think before they didn't always kick off depending on what you're doing. They added more world actions for new assets and areas. Weather stats slightly tweaked in regards to humidity and breath visibility. The burning barrel now provides warmth and lower humidity. So if you are cold or you're wet, you can go on there and dry out or get warmer. As well as new fire damage setup. The server, let's see, they did some network optimizations for performance and fixed a few bugs. They added that semi-truck to the game. So now they have a semi-truck that you can drive around. And then with the pickup truck, the sedan, and the semis, they now are random paint colors. So when you pick them up, they're not going to all be orange or green. They're going to be random colors. They added a new junkyard area that contains the vehicle paint shop. And then new semi-truck prefabs have been added to the map, so you can find those around at different places. I think that's the main number of. Other than that, it's mostly fixes and updates to AI, animation, things like that.
Yeah, and it's not. I mean, they do big updates every once in a while. Did you want to show these pictures of these paint shops?
Yeah, you can show some of these are some of the graffiti things that they have at the paint shops. So they have a lot of detail, and they were able to put, like the clan was able to put their tag on that one.
This building, this literally looks like a real picture right here. This is a really good
render. Yeah.
Render, right? And there's a bird in mid-flight in this image.
Yep.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks really good. So on those paint shops, they have that custom art. So that'll help you to notice and maybe go check it out. And for people that don't know about the patch, they'll be like, "Huh, what's that?" Be drawn to it, and there you go. You got a paint shop.
Yes, sir.
The Crinkle lad, he brings up a point. Now, not enough people play this game. New people won't buy it because of that. It's stuck in a loop, and I agree. I think that for them to break out of this, they got a beautiful game, but it's tough for them to break out because a lot of people haven't come back because they don't know. Not everybody knows that it's being updated regularly. I think that it's going to take them really making some changes to the base building and to the combat system. I think that's what would turn this game around, is if they made it have what feels like a competitive gunplay system like PUBG has, like some of these other games have, and then having a base building system that will maybe attract some of the clans. I think that they're going to struggle until they implement those things.
And I think you could point to a lot of games that are stuck in this loop.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just tough to get out of. I mean, it's very rare that a game is able to do a big patch enough. I mean, you could look at No Man's Sky. I think that was the kind of patch that a game like that has to do.
Yeah.
They have to implement that kind of a big, wow, look at all these features, to where you go and tell your friend, hey, look at all this, look at this. Like, they really changed this, come and check it out. I think if you do these small, even though it's making the game look better and making the game better slowly over time, you need that big wow factor, that one big change that gets it to where you're like, okay, everybody come in and check this out.
Yeah. Bingo.
So, all right. Let's, okay. I'm just looking at our time.
I've got
a couple things we could cover that are pretty big.
Yeah, I've got something I want to jump into. Let's talk about Conan real quickly. They had a dev stream. I actually didn't realize this. There's some mandatory vacation laws in what country are they in?
Norway. I don't remember.
Whatever country they're in. They have mandatory vacations, so a lot of the staff was off for like 2 or 3 weeks. Because we really haven't seen a lot from Conan in the past couple weeks. We've talked about some DLC stuff. And so Jens Erik was back, and they did a video, or he did one of those dev update streams. It's about 15 minutes long. I'd recommend you go watch it if you're a Conan super fan. But a kind of a
they're from Norway.
Norway, yes. A little TLDR with it. The pet system is coming into the game. No details yet. He said there may be screenshots next week, so on next week's show we may have screenshots, or the week after.
So this is another game that came in and made that big change, like we were just speaking about.
I didn't even think about it. Yes,
they came in, and what was it that pulled it out? They made an incredible base building system, and they fixed the combat. The exact things that I just said is what this company did for this game, and it brought back a ton of their players.
Yeah, I mean, it got us all interested again.
Yep. So, yeah, so I think that is kind of the secret to this, that if Miscreated is watching, that, take a look at what
watching.
Funcom did. Well, they may, we'll see. But I think that they could take that out of the playbook of Funcom and look at what they did. I mean, there was a big lull in Funcom's history of, they released, and then there was a lull while they were implementing certain features, and then they did kind of a re-release out of alpha type of a thing that really people came back and played, and they said, man, this is so much better. And it got tons of people playing again.
Yeah. And we'll have those numbers coming up here right towards the end of the show. So a couple of big things with this update. The first, obviously the big thing being the pet system. So it's going to be similar to the thralls, and the way that those work is you essentially capture them, and in the case of the thralls, you put them in the wheel of pain. Essentially you're breaking them into being your thrall. So that's how that works. It's going to be a little bit different though with the pet system. Instead of going over and clubbing a full-sized animal, knocking it unconscious and then bringing it back, you actually, the only way to get pets is either capturing a baby or taking an egg. And then it's going to be kind of similar to an ARC system, where you're going to have to feed either the baby or or nourish the egg at a certain point. ARC has got a very tricky and almost damn near impossible taming system.
They have those baby hyenas at the moment. I mean, those are probably that's going to be one of the initial ones. Yeah. They have those little hyenas that run around. Those will be the initial things that you capture for hyenas.
Pet crocodiles is a question. Whatever, anything. I get. He didn't elaborate. I don't, at least what I watched where he talked about the pet system. He didn't elaborate on which types of pets. but you're not going to be able to knock out a full-size animal and make it yours. You're going to have to get either a baby or an egg, bring it back. You're going to put it in a pen, and once it's either hatches or it grows to a certain size or whatever, you'll get to take it out of the pen. It'll be similar to a thrall where you can place it somewhere to be in defense of you, or some defensive on the base somewhere, or you can have it follow you. There's also a third option too, which is kind of cool. Or you could have it work and do something. I think he mentioned that there were some things it could do besides just defending the base. There's a third thing though, is if it stays in the pen, it can generate resources. So there is certain animals will be able to will generate certain resources by sitting in a pen. He mentioned iron rock. I would assume it's maybe those kind of iron rhino things that guard the iron stone. Maybe you can get a baby one of those. He mentioned one of them generating iron. I don't know what they call it. It's not called iron rock. It's
iron ore.
Iron ore. Maybe that's what they call it in game. I thought it was. I don't know what it was called, but iron. He said, "Oh, if you have a base that's not near any iron deposits, you could have a couple of these things and have a slow trickle of iron into your base." So overall, it looks pretty cool. Yeah, essentially a pet rock. Overall, it looks like it's going to be a really cool system. It's really not like the Ark system at all, which was my concern. Is like, oh, this is just, now they are literally Ark.
There were a lot of people who said that this was very similar to Ark originally, and I think that they've done a really good job of differentiating themselves from that.
But would you agree it was? I mean, when we first played it, it was literally
originally, it was like an Ark clone. I mean, the characters look better and things like that, but I think that they've done a good job of making. I mean, Ark has horrible combat. I think they've done a really good job of making good combat. And having a story and doing all the things that Ark did not do.
Yeah. So that
they also added a new DLC. I think we had hinted at it. They didn't have an official video, but they had the Jewel of the West DLC that they've added to this. It comes with 39 new building pieces, 15 new pieces of armor, 9 new weapons, 25 new placeable items, and 5 new war paints that they've added, which are the tattoos that you can get. And so I think with this, I've really kind of felt that this is kind of going towards a role-playing community. I think that that's probably what's going to be the end game for this, of people continuing to play this and do it. I think this will turn into kind of a role-playing. They're creating a really good variation for people to build and kind of create unique environments that maybe match a certain time frame, certain genre. And so there's actually a video for this that really shows off some of the uniqueness, because I think this one has a really good look. I'm not seeing, I mean, if you look at Ark is very much the same. The bases look the same. Yep. You know, it might be a metal base, might be a stone base, but it's really hard to get that variation of how it looks. And I think you'll see in this video, they've created a really unique looking to where one DLC looks totally different than a base built with another DLC.
All right, so that's the Jewels of the West pack. It is available now on Steam. You can pick that up. They've got, they have 2 other They have one other DLC, two other DLCs. I get no.
Two
They
other DLCs.
no. They've only got one other. They've got the Imperial East Pack and the Jewels of the West one, which has been out for.
And these are 100% cosmetic. Now,
Yep.
I will say that if you made a gladiator arena like they did there, and you used like that one that's the more Asia aesthetic,
Yep.
it would not look the same.
No.
Like that's where I think this is really going for that kind of role playing community, because that looked pretty convincing, that gladiator arena that they created, and the aesthetic to where it just I think they've done a really good job of capturing that. And it'll be interesting to see what other time frames they start to go for.
And these are $10 DLCs that they do, which I think is very reasonable. The only people that are buying this are the enthusiasts,
People that are really into it.
the hardcore players. Nobody else is buying. Actually, our buddy Lance bought it because he just wanted to craft some of the Imperial East weapons. He said, "Hey, I want to."
Deacon has it. I don't remember if Joe got it, but
I think Joe does.
People who get in there and really start playing it, they get in there and it's like, okay, I'm willing to pay that money for this cool thing. Maybe the trick where they really get you is someone makes that weapon, you have
Bingo.
it,
Yep.
you can't repair it without the DLC. Now, you could get another weapon that has all the same damage and everything. It just doesn't look the same.
They almost got me on that. Almost got me. And I was like, no, not today. It's not happening. But they came very close to getting me.
So yeah, and being that it's totally optional, I think that people can't get as mad at them of saying, "Hey, look at this," why am I having to pay this money when there's no reason, unless you want to build a base that looks like that has all these pieces in it. You could build one that is identical base, just with different looking pieces.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, there will be a point if they come up with too many DLCs to where people will kind of get tired of it, frustrated with it, be like, oh, not another $10. But I think if they spread them out enough over time and don't end up with 20 DLCs.
I would imagine there will be maybe at most 4, and that'll be it. I can't imagine them doing many more.
Yeah, because I think there will be a point, because you see some of these games on Steam where it's like the DLC adds up to hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, like any truck simulator, train simulator game. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you want this color paint job? $5.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing to remember with these DLCs. You're buying the DLC, but you're supporting the continued development of the game. I mean, that's more what it is than anything. And I think people just need to get into that mindset of you purchase the game
If
once.
you play this game a lot and you want them to continue putting out updates, then come up with ways that you can give them more money.
And that's what this is. This is if you play the game a lot, not that you should buy this, but that they're making this for you, for the player that plays it all the time.
Well, and also like there's with Unturned, they have that thing where there's that gold pack, which is not required to do anything, but that's more of a, hey, I appreciate this game. Here's a tip to the developer.
Yep. And I have no problem. I actually really like when games do that because it gives me the option as the player, like with Fortnite, with free to play. I have no problem dropping money on the battle pass because the game is free. What? Oh God, I have to give them $10. Oh God, I'm going to spend $60 on them.
He brings up, I got the game on Humble Bundle. One thing you have to keep in mind is Funcom gets very little money out of that Humble Bundle purchase. Very little money. So they're putting something on Humble Bundle in hopes that you're going to enjoy the game and you're going to put some money into the DLC, because that's the only real way that money then gets back into the pocket of Funcom.
And imagine that Steam is taking $3 of those 10 that they're selling it for, because they are. They're taking 30%.
Is taking a percentage, and then whoever is the affiliate is then making a percentage, and then there's the option to get the 5% purchase back. So you got to think they're making less than Steam is by far on that purchase.
Yeah.
So
pretty crazy.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead. Man, we're out of time.
Yeah, we are.
Okay. So one thing I'll just mention something really quick because there have been, we barely made it through the show notes today. So
this is not a good one.
Yeah. So one thing is ARMA came out with an update. So if you are into ARMA as a simulator, they added some like ships and things like that. It's called the Encore update. which brings some new types of like a Liberty Destroyer ship and things like that into the game. PUBG came out with an update this week. And so if you're playing PUBG, there's update 19, which was mostly fixes, a little bit of altering of the UI and things like that. They are adding in dynamic weather, which I think maybe we'll show a video of that next week.
Yeah.
So they have rain and it's like windstorms, sunny day, things like that. So since we don't have enough time for it, we'll come back to that next week. No Man's Sky came with a couple patches, but mostly fixes. Fairly new release still. They're doing bug fixes. Black Death came out with a hot fix this week. Rust will show off some of the Bandit Town updates that they did next week. Black Wake came out with the 3.3 update, which was mostly fixes. They added a couple ships in the last patch, but this one they've added some hairstyles and things like that. And other than that, pretty much balancing and fixing for them. And Fear of the Wolves, they are in closed beta again. So if you wanted to have a chance to play some of that, you can apply for the closed beta of that. And then I was going to talk a little bit about some of the games that are coming out in the next couple weeks.
Save that
I'll just list them off.
Oh, you're okay.
Well, I'll just list off the first three. We Happy Few is coming out before next show. World of Warcraft is coming out before next show. And The Walking Dead final season, which is the Telltale version, is coming out, I think, on the day of next week's show. So those are ones that you can look forward to, and then we'll go into some more that are going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks next week.
Yes, and I'm being reminded, I was going to bring it up, but I'll bring it up now because everybody's all freaking out about it. We've been playing some Dungeons & Dragons. We had our Session 0. I'd never played it before. You'd never played it before. I don't believe most of our groups ever played it before. We had our Session 0 last Saturday. We thought that was a lot of... Saul, of course, has played it before because he's a real nerd. So we did our Session 0 last...
Saul shows us all of his collector edition dies,
yeah,
things like that.
So I just want to quickly say, I think our game is pretty much full. If you really, really want to get into it, hop into the Discord and message It's Jonesy in there. But I think our session's pretty much full. We have a lot of people.
You need to be fairly committed.
You have to be, no, not fairly. You have to be 100% committed. There's no fairly. You got to be 100% committed and ready to play. Session 1 is this Saturday at some point. But that's fine if you want to watch. I'm going to be streaming it on my personal Twitch channel, which I've been hosting on the Infection channel when I'm doing it. So it's twitch.tv/360 Gaming Live. You can check it out there. We're working on some stream overlays and some stuff so that you can watch through and kind of be part of the story. If you don't want to. If you can't put the commitment into, you can still kind of be part of it by watching that. So where I'm going to do my best to stream every session, and keep all that stuff on there. So,
all right, very good. And then remember, next week we're going to be doing GTA 5.
Yep,
or Friday. So on Friday, make sure it's all updated because that game, or maybe you uninstalled it for your hard drive space. Make sure you take some time to get that to download because it is a very large game. And so we'll be doing that on Friday evening. Make sure you're in our Discord if you want to join us for it.
All right, let's hop into current players. Currently playing the games that we talk about. H1Z1, now being run by Jace Hall. 2,234 players currently playing. The 24-hour peak, 4,904, with a 70 peak, 6,038. Moving on over to Ark Survival Evolved. Currently playing 30,033, your 24-hour peak, 42,077, and a 7-day peak, 51,033. All of these numbers are weird. They all end in the same two numbers. Didn't realize that. Let's talk about Conan Exiles real quick. Still a solid player base. Currently playing 7,907, 10,693 is your 24-hour peak. And the 7-day peak, 13,925. Miscreated is another game that we are talking about. Not doing too hot player-wise. Currently playing 615, the 24-hour peak, 876, with a 7-day peak of 903. Not too great with that. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I think something is currently going on with Steam because this number is like 120,000 lower than normal. Currently playing 88,307. The 24-hour peak, wow, 1,175,902, and the 7-day peak, 1,271,022. So I think there's some issues with the current players. I doubt they lost 120,000 concurrent players since last week.
And this was the maintenance time, so it could be that when it kicked out, like it just hasn't, maybe they did a longer maintenance than normal.
Yeah, so all those other numbers look pretty good except for the everything else looked good besides that. So
yeah,
there you go.
All right, so let's go into tip of the week, where either it's a general gaming tip to help you or for a specific game. Since this week we played a little bit of Fortnite, it's going to be for that. So this is tip of the week. All right, so here is the area that I had to adapt the most when we were playing this past Friday, and that is kind of setting your keybinds for quickly building, because the default keybinds that you have are very difficult to use if you're trying to quickly build and play the game. So the fastest builders, they'll use a set of buttons on their mouse, and it seems like they're just seamlessly placing walls and ramps as they play. If perhaps, like for me, I only have 2 buttons on my mouse that I can really map easily and be able to click and use while I'm playing that type of a game. And so you may find that, for yours, your mouse isn't really built to do that. There's ways to do it with your keyboard as well. But you will need about 2 buttons minimally to really use that for quickly building. So, but they do have inside the game, you can set your keybinds, totally customize them to whatever you want them to be. And so you need to figure out and pick what is going to be the best for allowing you to continue to jump and move around with your character while you're pressing those. Some of the most popular keybinds that you'll have first, let's say for mostly using a mouse, is using something like floor for Q. So if you want to place a floor, press Q. Doing buttons on your mouse. If you have 2 buttons for the walls and stairs, you can assign one of those to each. And then if you want to do your roof, something like V. If you don't have those buttons on your mouse, you can actually bind some of these to your keyboard and avoid using your mouse for extra buttons. And if you use the walls for B, floors for N, stairs for V, and then roof for T, you can do those in any order really that you want to. You can figure out which ones are easier for you to press, assign them in whatever order, but those are generally keys that aren't used by other actions in the game and are fairly close to the WASD keys. But you can come up with any combination of that you choose. You also have the option for, one thing is that you look at the G key, seems like it would very easily be accessed, but that is being used by something else. So you do have the option, if you wanted to go through and remap all the keys, you just would have to maybe print off a thing or take note of all these different buttons that you changed to different things and then remap them however you'd like. But you need to really map them not to the F1, F2, F3, F4 keys that they have by default. Map them to something that's close to those keys, because if you're going to become more competitive at this game, you need to quickly be able to place down ramps, walls, because you'll see that these guys are just fully surrounding themselves and then jumping up a level, fully surrounding themselves, jumping up a level. And that's very difficult to do if you don't have good key binding. So that is tip of the week.
All righty. Thank you very much, Brian.
Very good. All right. So let's go ahead and we will do this roll. All right. Menez Bruno. Is that the pronunciation? Menezes?
I don't know. That's on you, my man.
I think it's something like that. Bruno has won.
And he's not even a follower. Follow the channel. You just want a free game.
Yeah. Follow
Smash
the
follow button.
Show us a little support. So.
Congratulations. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, I could. In the future, I could make it so you have to be a follower. I probably should.
It's fine.
Well, but when they hit exclamation point giveaway, it'll just say you need to follow the channel.
We should just. I like doing this now. We can force them to follow. This is much better.
You can shame them into following.
Yeah, exactly. So congratulations. Thanks for tuning in. And I see we got a couple new people in chat this evening. We're the Infection Podcast. We cover survival video games each and every week. We're here on Sean, you're about an hour and a half too late for that. Sorry, my man. We cover survival games each and every week. We've got a Discord, a Steam group, and all that fun stuff. So if you're new here, check it out. Follow us on Twitch. Check us out on Discord and Steam as well. We've got a super active community. We'd love to have you part of it. So there's my little spiel there at the end of the show. Oh, and I need to thank a whole bunch of people. Let me do that real quick before we get out of here, Brian. I want to thank Saul Greatman for the Twitch subscription, Serial Killer Barbie for the Twitch subscription, our friend Ross, Big Woody Sauce, and then I want to thank Green Man Cartoons, Nissan Communications, our friend Amnon, Stairwave, Firebomb, and Locklore for the subscriptions as well. Thanks guys. We appreciate all of you so much making our trip out to PAX possible here in 3 weeks. Literally 3 weeks.
It's coming up quick.
I'm excited. I can't wait to see Brian again and just ridicule him in public, in person, not public, in person. We have this relationship online only goes so far until you're public. Maybe we'll do some bare knuckle boxing or something. What do you think, Brian?
Oh, that'd be hilarious. Yeah, that'd be great.
So we'll have a good.
We come back. We're just bloodied for the interviews on
on the show. Oh, we got to fight in the diversity lounge at PAX. Yeah. We're all bloodied up. All right.
Well, we've had Joe the whole time saying, "Fight me at PAX, bro."
Fight me at PAX, bro. So we'll see. Oh, and by the way, if you're going to be at PAX or know somebody at PAX, get up with us. We'll either go grab a drink or grab dinner. We did it in Boston. Met up with our good friend Heisenberg.
One of the best hamburgers. I would say the best hamburger I've ever had.
Yep, the 420 burger.
Boston that thing was ridiculous.
The Boston Burger Company.
That was so good.
But we met up with a fan. It was a lot of fun. Super cool guy. We had a really good time. So if you live out in Seattle, live near Seattle, want to come hang out, do let us know. We got a couple extra days there. So let us know. We'll have plenty of time to hang out with you.
Very good. All right. If you want to find me, at Boise Computer on Twitter, or check out my blog, biteoftech.com. Of course, go to our website, infectionpodcast.com. We have a link to our show notes for every single episode that we've done in the past however many years. We have links to our video and audio only versions. And we also have a link to our Discord, which is where we communicate throughout the week. A great place to be able to submit news topics. Also, if you want to just play a game with some people, just jump in one of the channels, say, hey, anyone want to play this game? We have our Steam group. If you'd like notifications before the live show starts, probably do some notifications before our game of the week as well. We have our YouTube channel link on there, our Twitch link, and then our audio only podcast forms. And so if you're looking for the platform that you use, and if we're not on there, make sure you let us know, because we want to go on there and make sure we're available on all possible platforms. So if you, for some reason, listen on a certain app, we're not there, send us a message in Discord, and we'll go through and see what we can do to get listed on that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Brian. We'll see you Friday night for GTA, and then next Tuesday here we'll be live next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Twitch, twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. Alrighty. Well, I think that's about it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this evening. If you're new here, don't forget to follow our Twitch channel. Follow us on Twitter at InfectionCast. And, of course, you can visit our website, infectionpodcast.com. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Infection Podcast. We'll see you next time.